All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Lots to talk about today, but before we do get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy daily gaming news content. If it is your first time here, you like the video, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you've been watching for a while, I see a lot of you have, and make sure to hit that subscribe and check out my Spotify. Link is in the description, but we will start off here and we will talk about the Xbox console. So, I mean, again, we've been talking about this over the last 2 weeks or so about just the non-stop narrative changes from Xbox. Obviously, they closed the 4 studios. A lot of people were upset about that. And then we continued on for a week and we heard rumors about Call of Duty not going into Game Pass, which now we know it is going to be dropping into Game Pass if those Wall Street Journal reports are correct. We've also heard things about Microsoft Gaming. None of this has actually been confirmed, just kind of all the doom and gloom rumors that have been spreading around. But one thing that people are always still saying for some reason, even though Sarah Bond specifically and explicitly said at the Xbox business update, was that there's going to be future Xbox hardware and that we are going to learn more about this hardware in relatively soon at the summer showcase, maybe sometime after that, depending on which hardware they talk about. But there will be a next generation of Xbox consoles. And now there is a new claim here suggesting that the next Xbox will launch in 2026. This is kind of something we did see, I believe, when we were covering the Activision Blizzard acquisition and the leaked documents. This was in their roadmap, but there is some more information here from a data mine that is suggesting that this could actually be the year. It says a new claim from a Call of Duty data miner suggests that the next Xbox console could launch as soon as 2026, and the console would also feature that year's Call of Duty as a launch title. So first of all, that alone would be a very, very smart move to put it as a launch title for the console, especially if 2026 is going to be the next gen for Xbox and not the next gen for PlayStation. 2026 to me sounds like it's Xbox trying to get out ahead of PlayStation, similar to what they did with the Xbox 360, which was a great strategy for them and really did help them out. And I think personally that would be a very smart move. You're not going to have a Pro console, which it sounds like PlayStation is going to be having a PlayStation 5 Pro. If you're not going to compete this generation again on that power, because the Series X has been the most powerful console, and then they're going to lose that title after the PS5 Pro comes out, start the next generation to give people that option if they want the most powerful console out there, and launch it a year ahead of Xbox. Add Call of Duty in there, especially coming into Game Pass and everything. I think it will be a very strong launch. But here is what the leak in the data miner says. It says, hearing from trusted sources that the next Xbox is planned to be released in late 2026. Very likely the COD 2026 is a day one release for it. And they go on here to say Microsoft has gone on record multiple times saying that a next generation Xbox console would be coming. In an episode of the official Xbox podcast in February, Xbox president Sarah Bond said that the company was excited about what's coming with the future Xbox hardware, specifically saying we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. What we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in the hardware generation, what makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they are building. So again, there is a next generation of Xbox console. I made a tweet kind of jokingly saying, oh, now Xbox, I don't know why Xbox opened another studio, which was that Elsewhere studio, if they're dead. And everyone was saying, oh, people are saying that the console's dead, but clearly the console is not dead either. We're hearing about a big technical leak from at-home console. We're hearing rumors about a handheld. So hopefully we will eventually be getting information on those sooner rather than later. I don't think at this year's June showcase we will be hearing about the next generation of Xbox, but maybe we'll hear something about like a digital Series X or something along those lines. But it'd be super cool if I get surprised and they do start hinting at what is to come next, even if it's just the handheld. The handheld, I think, will be a very smart move here from Xbox. Okay, let's jump over here and let's talk about something that EA is doing, which I think is awesome from EA to be doing this. And they are diverting 100% of the Immortals of Aveum net sales revenue to Ascendant Studio. So if you've heard anything about Immortals of Aveum in terms of the business side, it did not do very well. And the game itself is not bad. There's actually some cool features like FSR 3.1 that came out for it, which I think was one of the first games on consoles to have that feature. But the game just did not do very well commercially. Critically, it did average. I think it was like in the 7 or 8 range. And it's not a bad game. I think it's a decent game. But in terms of what happened there? They didn't make enough money, and this is one of those indie developers that EA has in their creators program, and they publish those games. They've had a bunch of those. Like if you think about all of the co-op games from Joseph Fares and Haze Light, like those are great games that are all part of the EA indie side of things. And you would have thought with Immortals of Avium, maybe they would have just continued with more layoffs at the studio, potentially just kind of letting it fade away. And that isn't the case. They are essentially saying that they are going to continue to give them the money or give them more money. And it looks like Ascendant isn't going to have to close down or anything like that. And the reason I say that is because earlier they did have to do layoffs. And I think one of the major reasons is because the game did not sell well. So here is what they say. They say for the foreseeable future, 100% of the net revenue from Immortals of Avium purchases goes directly to our studio. If you grab the game at full price or on sale, refer a friend to check it out, post content on social, or leave a review. It all goes towards supporting our studio and helps make it possible for us to create more games in the future. Your support truly matters. So if you are a fan of this game, or if you are interested at all in what they have created, I guess now is the time to go and pick it up, because they're going to get 100% of the revenue. They're going to be able to actually continue to make another game, get another chance. Because that's one thing with these studios, when companies are short-sighted and they do close them down too early, or they don't give them at least a second or third game or whatever, it's you don't really get to tap into the potential that could be there. And I do think there is potential at the studio. So we'll see how all of this does end up panning out for Ascendant Studios. Okay, let's talk about a pretty interesting thing here. Total War, they are making a Star Wars version of the game. It is reportedly in development at Creative Assembly. This says here that according to DualShockers, as of October 2023, Total War Star Wars was one of the 3 new Total War games in development at the Sega-owned studio. It's unclear which of the games was the closest to completion, but Sega normally releases a new series entry annually, and the last 2 exceptions being in 2021 and 2014. So if you're a fan of the Total War game, there could be a Star Wars game on the horizon coming sooner than later. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool just to see kind of the Star Wars universe in these Total War games. I've never actually really played them, but I've heard a lot about them. I have a friend who's always trying to get me to jump in and play them and tells me all about it. So I kind of know a decent amount about the game. And I think Star Wars may be that one that, hey, I'll probably end up taking a look at it, just kind of seeing what it's all about. Okay, let's talk Grand Theft Auto 6, because we know Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming, and it is coming in 2025, but now we have a release window for GTA 6, which is going to be probably the biggest game in the last 10 years or so. I mean, it's going to be massive. It is going to be just a huge release as people are waiting for this. And now we know that it is coming in fall 2025, and that obviously, unless anything happens here to delay it or whatever, but this was during Take-Two's financial report for their fiscal year 2024. This says here, listing some of the games planned for the next 3 fiscal years. The company said GTA 6 will be launching fall of calendar 2025, and they also confirmed the development of NBA 2K25 and WWE 2K25, which isn't surprising. I mean, those games sell very well. Their annual releases, so they're going to continue to cash in on that. But they continue here and say that our outlook reflects a narrowing of Rockstar Games' previously established window of calendar 2025 to fall of calendar 2025 for Grand Theft Auto 6, and consumer anticipation for the title is unprecedented, and our expectations for its commercial input continue to increase. Now, when it comes to GTA 6, it's going to be huge because it's, well, at least for the consoles, right? It's releasing only on consoles at launch. And there's always that discussion, is how will this game push consoles? Will people go out and buy the best version of this game, the console that it has the best, or the console that has the marketing rights for it? There will be definitely a fight here for the main marketing rights if they are being sold here to either Xbox or PlayStation, because that's one of those games that you spend that money so that whenever the commercials are coming up, whenever the online ads are coming up, it's your console that gets shown with it at the end of it. Some similar to kind of with Call of Duty, now that Xbox has it back, and I think that's going to be huge for them, as we did see in the previous generation on the PS4, how big it was for PlayStation, and then the generation before that, how big it was for the Xbox 360. Grand Theft Auto is another one of those games where you can really move needles if you do get those marketing rights for it. So we'll see how that all plays out. And there's always that thing here now. Is the PS5 Pro going to be the best consoles to play this on? Or will there be just any real major difference between the X and the PlayStation 5 Pro, especially because some of the leaks that we have seen about the PS5 Pro specs, that they're focusing more on ray tracing, that probably won't be that massive. of a difference. But there's so many stories and discussions that can come out leading up to the launch of GTA 6. It's just kind of exciting to see and track what is going to be happening. Okay, let's talk about a game that I'm pretty excited for that's finally coming back, and that's College Football 25. I used to be a big fan of these games back when EA released them. They stopped releasing them in 2014, and they are bringing it back this year, releasing on July 19th. And I was a big fan of the dynasty modes, building my teams up and building my creative teams and things, and just getting them to go through that. And now we know the team builder is back in College Football 25, which is very happy to see, because one of the things that EA has done with their football games, specifically Madden, they've kind of abandoned the offline single player modes, and that's because of how big Ultimate Team is and how much money they make off of Ultimate Team. So I was kind of worried that they would just kind of be doing this as well with this new college football game, and that it would be really just focused on the card building aspects of it and the microtransactions. But this is kind of a good sign here, as it do say here that back at the end of the run of EA Sports NCAA football, one of the fan favorite features was Team Builder. It was a website that allowed players to create their own schools for the using the game's Dynasty mode. And with EA Sports College Football 25, Team Builder is officially back. They did announce this on their reveal blog for the game, the first kind of gameplay trailer and a release date trailer for EA Sports College Football 25. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are excited about this franchise finally coming back and we're getting a new version of it. All right, jumping over here, let's talk about one of the games that I think will be a huge player going forward in first-person shooters, hero shooters, and that is the new game coming from Valve, previously known as Neon Prime. The game is now going to be called Deadlock. It is a competitive hero-based shooter. It will have 6v6 battling on huge maps, steampunk and European-style cities in terms of the maps. There will be usable abilities and items. There's going to be tower defense mechanics. There's going to be fantasy setting mixed in with steampunk. There's going to be magicians, weird creatures and robots, and fast travel using floating rail, similar to BioShock Infinite. So this is a new game here coming from Valve, hero shooter 6v6. And I mean, whenever they put out their games, they do pretty well. I mean, you just look at CSGO and how big that game has been for so long, and now we're going to see them jumping into this hero shooter arena. We are in a time now where it's pretty exciting for first-person shooter fans, at least the competitive online shooter fans, because you're going to have the Call of Duties, whichever year you get. There's going to be a brand new Battlefield that is on the horizon that they are making up to be the finally one that will be there competing with the Call of Duties. I mean, the Battlefield was great years ago, and they've kind of just fallen off a little bit over the last couple of releases, although I am hearing great things about 2042, at least right now. I did play a bit of it at launch and just wasn't a fan, and they've updated it, and I think now it is better. And then you think about it, I mean, Halo Infinite is continuously getting better and is still one of the best online shooters out there. You have X Defiant, which is releasing in a day from now. We'll see how that stacks up. And now you're going to have this coming in here. So there's going to be a lot to choose from. And you also have like the Overwatches and the Marvel's Rivals game that is another hero shooter. So lots of first-person shooters on the horizon, new ones, new takes on them. We'll see how they all do compare to each other. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.